Oi, oi, all right, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is the Doodle Review coming through with a new album to give a spin, chat some fraff about, and then assign a completely pointless, arbitrary score to. Today, we're looking at the 26th album from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So I try not to start in the way that most of my Giz reviews starts, which is like, Australian psych band, genre bending, never know what you're going to get, multiple albums a year, blah 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 blah. If you're here, you're probably a fan of the band and know all that. And if you don't know King Giz, their last album, The Silver Chord, which was released towards the end of last year, was a fusion of techno and krautrock, and this new one is all about boogie woogie and blues rock. So that context pretty much sums up the unpredictability and eclectic nature of this band. And I'm a great fan of the band because of those reasons. I'm happy to follow them as they pursue each and every musical whim that sort of takes their fancy. But I'm also comfortable with the fact that I might not always like it. The pattern seems to go in at 3 album cycles for me. They do one I love, take last year's Petrodragonic Apocalypse, for example, one that's fine, kind of cool, Silver Chord, I think kind of fits into that bracket. And then one that's not for me, let's say. Flight B741 is very much that. The long and short of it is that this form of like jam band, boogie woogie, geriatric blues rock just isn't to my taste. There's almost not much more I can say than that. So instead of hurting myself to create some kind of intellectual scaffolding around what is basically a matter of taste, I'm just going to tell you all of the things that I do actually appreciate about the music, all the touches, all the things I like about the performances, the instrumentation and production and arrangement, even if those things are in service of songs that just aren't my cup of tea. So the album opens with Mirage City and kicks off with these rousing guitar chords. They have a super gritty tone and which is dialed into perfection, and the way they kind of overlap across each other sounds great. This also circles back around at the end, which is a nice way to kind of cap the track off. Speaking of dialed in, the vocal harmonies are fantastic, and I really love how they blend with what sounds like an organ, especially in that intro part. We move from there to Antarctica, which is kind of an organ-led jam. There's not many observations on this other than made a deal with the devil in the fuselage, crashed into heaven in the dead of winter is a bar. I love that. Raw feel emerges almost seamlessly from that track, and this one touches on a kind of upbeat 90s primal scream sort of vibe. The piano feel and additional percussion kind of summon that whole like moving on up vibe, and we continue to get lots of great harmonies. From here, we jump into Field of Vision. Now, we go from like boogie woogie jam band to here to a riff that's kind of butt rock. It kind of tiptoes into a bit of a ZZ Top feel, which I don't hate. I actually can't deny that this is pretty infectious and the pumping groove really works. I like the drum break and the Field of Vision group vocals. The only thing I will say, and I know this is where I'm supposed to be making positive observation, but I have to tell you, I hate the whole "I'm a silly Billy." Like that is the definite low point, and I can't help but cringe every time I hear it. Hog calling contest is centered around a Benny Hill chicken scratch riff. Under that, the bass is doing some unquestionably impressive stuff. It's not my thing, but the way the guitar riff progresses to build tension in the verses is really interesting. Lyrisk has one of the strongest grooves here, and the call and response lyrics are a great way to add energy to what is quite a straight ahead track. Flight B741, the title track, is probably the strongest song that I enjoy without any caveats. I love the super stonesy Keith Richards feel and tone on the guitars, how it's weaving all around the offbeats of the groove. The fa is really cool, kind of reminds me of like a Beatlesy type melodic detour on some of their more like out there tracks. Sad Pilot starts with a lot of pushes from behind the drums, which I'm always a fan of. Like, I love a push. The one continues this album, and this one continues the album's trend of great harmonies. And that chord change in the Satan's Winking, giving me the nod, is amazing. Rats in the Sky is like an extension of Pilot, and the consistent piano pumping and the rising tension almost feels like a number from like a show tune musical. Daily Blues, again, fantastic tone. And this one has a great example of the band's mastery of dynamics in how they take it down, pulling back on the velocity, but also feel on their instruments. The bongos and the rising vocals with that very restrained guitar really draws you in without losing any momentum. Finally, the track ends with the classic Gizzard chanted lyrics, which at this point has become a fixture of their records, and I do kind of love it. So there we go. That's my offering to you. If you consider yourself a Gizzard superfan and have stumbled on this video, there are many things across this record that I do appreciate despite not liking it. The thing is, I'm not actually against this more light-hearted and whimsical stuff in the Gizzard catalogue. You know, I vibe with the yacht rock, jazz rock, sophisti-pop of Changes, and even Fishin' for Fishies, which might be the band's first foray into boogie woogie. But upon revisiting that, you know, that feels like on that record they take a lot more inspiration from the style while blending it with this kind of airy psychedelic style, which works better for me. Flight B741 just jumps straight into the boogie woogie without any kind of trepidation, and it's just not my thing. This whole album makes me think of that clip of like the Dave Matthews Band, where the front man, I'm assuming that's Dave Matthews, is like pulling the most ridiculous like shapes, the most ridiculous dances. And the King Gizzard, I feel like I've just made an album with music that I feel like soundtracks that particular meme. So from a musicianship standpoint, the Gizzard are very much kings, but as much as I tried, this ain't for me. Given the many qualities I can appreciate about it, I'm gonna give it a 5 and knock it on the head. That's just what I think though. What are you lot saying? Especially if you're a Gizzard fan, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me how you like it. I'd be particularly interested to know if you weren't really into Boogie Woogie, but then King Gizzard did it and you found your way into it. Let me know what you think. And I've linked some other videos in the description, other reviews, other King Gizzard reviews, similar bands you might be interested in. Check those out. If you can be asked to do all that, you may as well subscribe, stick around, share some thoughts, show some love, or just tell some abuse in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. Right, mate. Take care. My name go. Cheers then. Bye.